Your buddy Joe back again, bridging the gap between best practices, what everybody says is the greatest thing to do, all these reliability tools, everything you read, between those best practices and the reality that you live in your plant every day, trying to share my lessons learned over my 32-year career as a plant manager, as a leader, as a global director of reliability, bringing those to you so you don't take 32 years to learn them. We can get those savings a lot faster and change the culture of your business and change the results of your business, right? Today's topic, I got two titles for today's topic. I couldn't decide on one of them. Number one is Mark Twain on reliability. Number two, reliability lessons from the movie The Big Short. First of all, a shout out to my old buddy Mark, who introduced me to this topic. This video wouldn't exist without him, so big thanks to Mark. Bottom right, folks, hit subscribe. This is probably week 2 of the challenge. Hey, bring a friend to YouTube. Copy and paste. This is going to be a good one, folks. Copy and paste this video in an email. Everybody that listens to this, send it to one friend and ask them to subscribe. We need to make this community a little bit bigger, get the comments going, help everybody, leaders helping leaders, right? That's what we're about here. So a little background on the movie The Big Short. You know, we had a group of outsiders outside of the mortgage industry in Wall Street that saw a massive problem in the housing market, specifically around mortgages. And then the banks, the leaders of these banks, the media and the government refused to see it, and eventually led to the global collapse of the economy in 2008. So Mark Twain had a quote at the beginning of this movie. I'd like to read it to you because it's great when you refer to it looking at reliability. It ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. So what you think you know for sure that just ain't so. And that's the essence of what we've been talking about here and what my company is built on, lean-driven reliability. Getting out, go and see, because you think it's true and it's not. More on that a little bit later. Another quote that I really liked from the movie, these outsiders did what leaders in the industry and experts refused to do. What did they do differently? They looked. They went out and looked. So hang with me on this. Mortgage-backed securities, they have certain ratings on them. AA means they're very low risk, so there's lower risk, less reward for those. So if you're investing in those, you're going to get a lower interest rate if you have your 401k invested in that type of bond. But then they go into increasing risk, AAA to AA to A to triple B, double B, B, and then C. These have higher risk. So they charge interest more to the person buying the house with that kind of risk. And then me, the investor in my 401k, can get a higher return on that, but more volatility and more risk. So that's how these securities are rated. So the industry made 2 big changes in that this movie was talking about. This is a true story, by the way. Adjustable rate mortgages, we all know what those are. They have very low interest rates at the beginning, and then they adjust based on some T-bill or whatever that they're linked to. There's also zero down mortgages you can get at this time. I actually saw advertisements on TV for 105% of a mortgage. So if you wanted to get a $100,000 house, they'd give you $105,000. You put five in your pocket and put $100,000 on the house, you're out nothing, and they may even give you 0% interest for the first couple years. All these things were going on, and banks were making a fortune on it because they were high-risk loans. Loan officers put money in their pocket. Banks were making money too by loaning more money. So that's what was going on. That big change, number one, is it changed from just a standard 15-year fixed mortgage, 30-year fixed mortgage to these adjustable rates, zero down, 0% interest. Another thing that happened, and that's my picture behind me, this is a house of cards. Imagine those are playing cards. I got a deck of playing cards right here. And you build up those playing cards. And what they did is they bundled these different risk level of securities, bundled them together. So this is one bundle right here. Bundle number one right here. Bundle that together. You got some AAA, double A, single A, and double B bundled together security, and they rated the entire stack as triple A. So what's that mean? That means the bank labels that as triple A. So when me and my 401k account, I only get triple A returns. So that's a low risk return. So they're going to give me low, but they're making high interest off these people with A, double A, and double B. So they're getting more interest from the borrowers and paying out less. A windfall for these people. Okay, so that's how it started out, this bundle one. Eventually it moved to bundle two. Bundle two, again, look at that. You got more higher risk securities down here, but because it was diversified, this too was rated triple A, even though you had all this junk down in here. And then as time went on, people got greedy. Bundle number three. Bundle number three is all high risk, but it's diversified, right? It's diversified over a lot of people. Mortgages don't go bad. People don't default on them. This also was rated triple A. So imagine the windfall in the banking industry when they're getting triple A rating on this. So they're paying me, the 401k guy, very low because this is very secure, but underneath, it's a house of cards. It's a house of cards waiting to go over. They're making a lot of interest on these and paying out very little interest. So that's basically the setups where it eventually got to all of these lower rated high risk securities. A small group of outsiders came in and they said, hey, something looks wrong here. They dove into it, looked at some of the numbers, and it just didn't make sense for them. They challenged some of the people on Wall Street. They challenged government officials, and they said, it's fine. We haven't had a mortgage crisis since 1929. It's fine. But this group, led by Steve Carell from The Office, you guys will love him in this movie, they actually went down to Miami. And they knocked on doors in subdivisions, and they noticed that a lot of houses were empty. I think in this one subdivision, 2 out of 10 houses had people in it, and the 2 that were there were renters. They were renting these houses, so a lot of people were already defaulting. They drove through neighborhoods with a real estate agent. They acted like they were buying a house, driving around through these subdivisions, and the real estate agent was talking about how the inflation of houses was going up. So you could buy a $200,000 house, and in a year it's worth $300,000. So you can make $100,000. So get one of these 0% interest loans for 3 years, right? With a big balloon payment at the end of that, but your house goes up $100,000. You refinance and you got $100,000 worth of capital in your pocket. So all this game going on, okay? And a real estate agent is just telling them to get into this game. But these guys were saying that people can't afford these houses. One individual they interviewed happened to be a stripper. She owned 5 houses, $500,000 houses that she was renting out at these low-cost bargain basement ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, or 0% with balloon payments. And they just saw this house of cards, so they went and saw. That's the connection to reliability. They got out and saw. They didn't assume the metrics were right, the opinion was right, all the newspaper articles, everything about the industry. They did not assume it was correct. They began to massively short this market. So, buying short means you're betting on a stock or a bond to go down. And you can make money going down when you buy short, just the same as you can make money as a stock going up. It's called buying short. They didn't believe the KPIs. Like I said, didn't believe the metrics. Big issue inside of reliability. So, continuing on the next page here. So, as you know, in about September of 2007, the market collapsed. These house of cards all came down to zero. Well, I mean, not zero, but came down. A lot of banks closed. Government had to bail them out. Big deal. These people that went in and sold short saw this. They went and saw. They got about an average of about 500% return in just a few months. 5x. Take $1 million. Now, these people were investing $200 million and getting a billion out of that, okay? So Waste is everywhere on the shop floor, but you got to go out and see it. You sit in your office, you look at the KPIs, and you assume, the basics are happening. You assume all these are, triple A investments, and they're not. They're not. Okay, so go into the floor, go to the floor, chalk circle. It doesn't count as an observation on the floor if you're not out there 4 hours. I like 8 hours, I like multiple day. But start with 4 hours because you don't have time, you're too busy reading email, right? This is empowering. I've been in 32 locations. Every time with the lead team, under the guidance of a coach, we've gone into plants, we see the waste via chalk circle, and it's empowering, it's enlightening. You come up with an action plan to capture that waste, that things that you assumed were happening that's not, and big money associated with it. Hey, my challenge for next week, find the most troubling area that you've got at your plant. Your number one performance objective, the number one pain in your butt that's happening, whatever it is, if it's reliability, if it's throughput, if it's quality, whatever it is, go out there and stand out there for 4 hours. I guarantee you're going to come away feeling more powerful. Just got to look. Your biggest blinder, your biggest problem doing this, the blinders you're going to have on, is you're going to expect to see something complex and something that you're going to need an engineering solutions for, or see massive capital come into it. You're going to be looking for big elephants, okay? But it will be the Mark Twain quote, okay? It's going to be the Mark Twain quote. That is, it ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. Okay, it's the things like you thought you were lubing everything. You thought you were doing PMs on all the equipment. Your KPIs look like you're at 90% PM compliance, but the 10% you're not doing is on your critical asset because you can't shut it down because you're behind. Your wrench time, your planning, your problem solving, your just execution of work. Your kitting and staging, it's just not happening. You got to go out there and see. Go and see, right? That's your biggest challenge, is to go out and see and not expect to see something big, expect to see something small. You do those small things right, simple to fix, no cost generally, big money. Okay, so rent the movie, $3.99 on Amazon. I really enjoyed it. Folks, begin your journey. This is not that hard. You can get pointers from me, watch these videos, pass these around to your leadership team. Like I said, the challenge for this week, give an email copy to a friend. Let's get them to subscribe. I'd love to get 250 subscribers to this that are watching this every week. You can get free pointers from me from email. You can set up a phone call with me. I got my email in the text below. I get about 10, 15 a day that I'm responding to, most of them just for free. But I'm hoping, and it is happening right now, I've got a couple companies I'm working for that found me through this YouTube channel. So reach out to me if you need help. Hit subscribe. Bottom right.